So now we know that The Last Jedi is plural. Has nothing to do with the movie, I just wanted to get that out there. Gold is directed by Steven Gaghan, written by Patrick Massett and John Zinman, stars Matthew McConaughey, Edgar Ramirez, and Bryce Dallas Howard, and this is about a prosecutor looking for a lucky break. He heads out into the Indonesian forests, he teams up with this geologist, and they try to find gold, and they find it, and this is about who gets to keep the money, how they rise in their company, and how eventually they maybe fall. I was interested in this movie because it tells the story of corruption, and it's based on real-life facts, and we never really knew the ending of this story, and I like Matthew McConaughey, and he is great in this film. He has a great screen presence, he embodies this character very well, he has a great relationship and a great back and forth with Edgar Ramirez and with Bryce Dallas Howard, who plays his wife, and they have a very endearing and faithful relationship, and I also like the team up that they have and the kind of things that this guy is going through. I like how he keeps making the dialogue interesting, and even when they are talking about stuff of Wall Street and economy stuff, he keeps making it riveting and making it interesting and making you want to hear it. I thought Edgar Ramirez had much more to give as far as his character goes, but as far as the performance, he was also very great. And Bryce Dallas Howard, no matter how little she was in the movie, she was very interesting. Her character was always very interesting. I was very interested in getting to know her a little bit better, scene by scene. We never really got that by the end of the movie, but I always found her so interesting throughout the film. The cinematography looks great. It is pristine at the same time that it is raw. It is very, very real. It seems like you are in the jungle when you are in the jungle. It seems very slick and very polished when you are in Wall Street and on the offices of these people as they are working. And the soundtrack is great. And that's where this movie falls through after that. It seems to have no direction, and the editing is also really shoddy. This movie has a lot of narration, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, you have Matthew McConaughey talking about something that he did or that he planned to do, and then you see a little bit of that, and then they abruptly cut to a scene ahead of time, and he fills you in with the blanks through narration. And that does not really work for the film. It makes it seem very superficial, it makes it seem like it had an organization as far as the script is concerned. The direction also seems to be all over the place, but in a sense that it didn't seem to have a through line. The movie never seems to, okay, we want to tell this story, so we're going to do that this way. Not at all. This movie seems like it was directed by 300 people at different times, wanting to tell different stories. The tone is all over the place. The characters have nothing to them. They are not interesting, they are not likable, you have nothing to root for them. Okay, so this guy wants a lucky break, he wants to find gold. Cool. Who doesn't? Okay, so this guy is now getting rich, but he's going through a lot of stress, and now there are some shoddy things going on as far as his partners are concerned, as far as this team of economists who want to team up with them and run the company through them, but they don't want it to do. Okay, so now we go ahead of time, and he's already being interviewed by Toby Kebbell, who's an investigator, I think. There's nothing to the characters in this movie. The characters are not introduced at all. The actors come in, they start having conversations, and then Matthew McConaughey's character tries to fill you in through narration, and then you are just left in blanks and wondering, okay, how did we get from point A to point B? Okay, but now we're in point E, and now we're going to point H, and then point M, and then back to point L, and then point C, and it's just all over the place. The story has no focus, the characters have no focus, they have no through line, they are literally all over the place. And the pacing is also very bad. This movie goes immediately into his journeys in the Indonesian forests and jungles, and that's all fine and dandy. Then we cut to him being interviewed by Toby Kebbell. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. They fill you in a little bit because he had Mallory going on, and then they finally found gold. They're going back into the city, they're going to be rich, everyone is celebrating. Then they go back into showing him still assembling his company, and okay, but we just saw Toby Kebbell there, and now we're here, and then we meet Corey Stoll's character who comes in, and he's playing this very shoddy guy who doesn't really like Matthew McConaughey or trust him, and he wants to pull one over him, and we know that, so it doesn't really serve serve as a mystery, and after that they don't really do anything with it. You also have this guy who really goes at him in the beginning of the movie, who doesn't want to fund his investigations, who doesn't want to fund his adventures in searching for gold. Then he comes back and he starts running with that company, and then he wants the guy to work for him, but then he does nothing to embarrass this guy. And not that I wanted the guy to be embarrassed, I don't wish that on anybody, but still, why are you doing that? And seeing Matthew McConaughey looking at him like, okay, I'm gonna fuck you over, son. The character relationships are assembled, the characters are assembled, they work well together, they gel well together, the actors are all fine, the movie looks great, then the structure is all over the place, and I'm a big fan of structure. Structure is fundamental to make a film, and this movie doesn't have a structure whatsoever. This movie keeps having interesting concepts and interesting ideas, and then it goes all over the place with them. It just throws them to the floor, and then they spill over like spoiled milk. And whenever there's a conflict in character, they immediately skip over to a scene that has nothing to do with that immediately, and then they try to fill you in with narration, and then they go ahead yet of that, and then they come back again, and it's just like that throughout 2 whole hours of film, and it makes no sense, and it doesn't allow you to enjoy it. And without spoiling anything, this movie hits the perfect mark to end at around 1 hour 40 minutes, maybe 1 hour 45 minutes. When it finally is handling one scene, one conversation, one topic, one through line to reach the end line of this film, of this story, and it finally is focused, it drags. It is dragging because it is telling you something that you don't need these characters to be telling you, because the movie could have just ended right there and you would have assumed stuff, because by the end of the movie, without spoiling anything, you're just left to assume some stuff. Gold has fine performances and it looks great, but throughout looking great, it has nothing to it. It's a confusing mess that seems to have been directed by more than 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and they didn't want to tell the same story, nor did they want to tell it in the same way. I don't hate Gold, but I also don't like Gold, and I certainly felt bored throughout it. It made me feel like Clark Gable. What did you think of Gold, my beautiful geekies? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Let me know what is your favorite Matthew McConaughey movie in the comments below, because right here, he made a transformation physically and he had a nice performance, but his character just was all over the place, just like everything in this film. On Sunday, I will give you my Geek Classic review for Trainspotting, the original classic, before Trainspotting 2 heads out into cinemas. But before, I'll have a review for John Wick Chapter 2 and my short film dedicated to John Wick, so make sure you come back for that. And don't forget to like this video, share with your beautiful friends all around social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and tell them to click the button and the bell so they can be like you, my beautiful geekies, who I thank you so much for watching this video, and I love you all. Stay beautiful, stay geeky, and if you haven't done so yet, join the beautiful geeky community where we can be geeky united!